Blessings and greetings, greetings and blessings. Blessed is Baruch Bareinu. Blessed is our Creator. We're now continuing our series in our next humble efforts for the Torah Meditation Club, and we want to remind those who have seen our previous humble efforts that we've connected meditation to one of the foundations of the Torah, and two, how there's a moral imperative connected to hisbonenus, inner understanding, analysis of pristine, true, authentic Torah teachings. And one can learn more about that by going to the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, from verse 4 until about verse 20, where the prophet rebukes the people for not doing or engaging in meditation, and therefore he goes on to rebuke them for being involved in lack of acts of kindness for those who need kindness most in that society at that time, thousands of years ago, and hopefully will serve for us in this generation, 21st century, that we should reconsider doing more kindness for those who need the kindness, from the scale of who needs it the most up until those who need it the least, but could still use a little assistance as well. Now we want to get a little historical perspective on the process of hisbonenus meditation. That we can go back all the way back to the time of Avraham Avinu, Abraham our father, where the Rambam in his Mishnah Torah, this section called Hilchot Avodat Chachavim Uvichoteihem, the laws of the service of stars and their statutes, basically the laws of idolatry, meaning the Rambam wrote this section of Mishnah Torah not to teach us how to do idolatry, but how to recognize it in order that we stay away from idolatry. And here we see that Rambam is portrayed here by Avraham Avinu was portrayed by Rambam that he had no teacher and there was no one to inform him at a young stage of his life. Rather, he was living in Ur Kasdim among the foolish idolaters. His father and mother and all people around him were idol worshippers, and he would worship with them. However, his heart was exploring and gaining understanding. Ultimately, he appreciated the way of truth and understood the path of righteousness through his accurate comprehension. Now, I want to go to one section here in the Hebrew to point out where this is alluding to the fact that Avraham Avinu was engaged in deep meditations, hisbonenus. And it reads like this in the Hebrew. Ad shahisig derech ha'emes v'hevin kav tzedek mitvunaso atvunato hanachona. So translating that literally into English, until he comprehended the path of truth and understood the path of righteousness from his correct understanding. Now, the word for understanding there is not me'bina hanachona, but me'tvunaso hanachona. Now, tevuna is something that the Mittler Rebbe in his classic work Shar HaYichud brought out, that this is an expression of the releasing, revelation of the midos, the emotional attributes connected to one's understanding, particularly one's inner understanding, a byproduct of meditating. So the deeper we meditate, the deeper our emotions shall start to string forth from our mind and have a better chance of penetrating our heart. That we become not only more mindful people, we become more heartful, aware people. That's something to consider. So with that being said, blessed souls, the word tevunaso is something which is connected to the idea of hisbonenus, meditation. And again, the source for that is in chapter 2 of the Mittler Rebbe's Shar Yuchud, which is a work about meditation. Now, going to the preface to the Mittler Rebbe, Shar Yuchud, the Gateway of Unity, he mentions that his intention was favorable towards any person in creating a book of how to meditate from within the context of authentic Torah sources, written in oral traditions, for any person who's seeking God in truth. And the name of God used in that preface to the book that he wrote, the kuntras that he wrote, the pamphlet that he wrote, whatever you want to call it, was the Shem Elokim, the name of God, which implies that he is the source of all judgment. which implies that revelations of godliness come not only from the expression of His grandeur, the heavens and the earth and the oceans and the great leviathans, the whales, the Niagara Falls, the pyramids of Egypt, wherever you want to call them, but rather the Creator can be found through us going through the clouds of our consciousness, the lack of consciousness on our part. And when one can see God not only from what is quite obvious testimony about His greatness, but also seeing and discovering the Creator and His greatness by investigating our lack of consciousness through analytical study, which is amply provided to us via Torah teachings, then truly we are seeking the Creator not only from the attribute of His expansiveness, as being the source of all expansiveness, but also the source of Him being the source of all concealment. Let us continue hopefully in the future with the Torah Meditation Club series.